Yo, what's going on, Los Angeles? What is up, Trojans fans? Welcome to USC LAFB. I am Ryan Dyrud. Busy week. Coach, myself, Madman, we're going to get on hopefully last night. And, Coach just started coaching. If those that didn't hear, I don't even think we've done a show since the announcement. We've announced it on LAFBnetwork.com, but our very own coach is the new head coach at Jordan High School down in Long Beach. Big shout out, Coach Rowe, back in the coaching game. Hopefully bringing that program back up and, hey, hopefully creating a pipeline to USC. So he just started this week. And so obviously he still works a full-time job. Those that know high school coaches don't get paid all that much. So he's working his full-time job plus coaching. So last night we were supposed to record and got a text from him at like 4 a.m. that he had passed out. So, yeah, but I want to get on here because big news. D'Anton Lynn, not going anywhere. Not going anywhere. A lot of fear, speculation. Can't even call them rumors. They were very real. Penn State, after Tom Allen, their DC, left for Clemson, they had honed in on D'Anton Lynn to be their next DC. I apologize for my nasal. I got sick yesterday. Real sick yesterday. I don't know where it came from. Maybe just everything happening with the fires all coming to fruition at once. But so I apologize for sounding nasally. But yeah, it was not a rumor. Very real. And so we got to talk about that. And then some recruiting news with Lincoln Riley and his staff really hitting the trail, the 2025 trail, really kind of this week. So we'll talk about that. This will be a quick, short video, but I just want to get on the horn here and catch up with all my Trojan fam before the weekend. And as I said last episode, for sure next episode, Coach and Madman will be back on, so you won't have to just listen to my mug the entire time. But wanted to get on here. So real quickly, show as always brought to you by our friends at BetOnline. Head to betonline.ag today. Use our promo code. Oh, yeah, never mind. No promo code. I got so used to saying the same thing. No promo code. BetOnline.ag. All the best game lines. If you're a Rams fan, got the Rams game this weekend against Philly. You can go bet on the Rams there. They are the underdog. Going to be a snow game out in Philly. But this Rams team just feels different. It feels special, right? Like, how many USC fans are Rams fans? Hopefully quite a few of you. We cover everything Rams as well at LAFB Network, so you can head there for that coverage also. But all that betting you can do at betonline.ag. Tell them the guys at the LAFB Network sent you. Also, last thing before getting to SC, rocking the Dodgers cap. Hour ago, before jumping, I was going to jump on here earlier, but we also cover the Los Angeles Dodgers here at the LA Fan Base Network, LAFB. Roki Sasaki officially signs with the Dodgers. I mean, this team is unreal after winning the World Series. And, I'm just getting really into baseball. I never really was all that into baseball. I love all sports, so obviously I enjoy baseball. But of the major four is my least, I would say, knowledgeable one. But since we started covering the Dodgers this past summer, I've really got into it. And it was a good time to start covering the team. You win the World Series. And then this offseason they've had with Blake Snell and re-signing Teoscar Hernandez and now getting getting other Kim out of Korea and Conforto from the Giants and now getting Sasaki. I mean, what a run this Dodgers on. Enjoy it, Dodgers fans. A special time. So LA, things are good in LA. Obviously tough with the fires. I talked about it last episode. My family was affected. I have friends affected. We know tons of people have lost homes. So praying for all of you out there that are struggling, any hardship. As I said last time, please reach out. Let me know if there's any way we can help here at the LAFB Network. You can hit me up on email, ryan.dyrud@lafbnetwork.com, or on Twitter, ryan.dyrud_LAFB, or just comment below wherever you're listening. And we'd be happy to help in some way, even if it's just a vent or to talk or anything. So praying for everyone out there, praying for the city. But sports-wise, it's been nice to see some wins in this time of need with the Dodgers getting this, with the Rams, with their big one in divisional round. And then now we can talk about the Trojans' big win, as I alluded to, keeping D'Anton Lynn, which was so important for this program moving forward. We knew, at least I knew, or I shouldn't say I know, nothing is guaranteed, I guess, but I had a pretty good hunch that when the Trojans hired D'Anton Lynn from crosstown rival UCLA, he wouldn't be here long. Not because he didn't want to be here, not because he would be fired. He wouldn't be here long because he's a rising star in the coaching world, and it was going to be hard to keep him. When it comes to college football coordinators, not many jobs are going to be better than USC. You know, you could you could argue Alabama, you could argue Georgia, you could argue Texas, Michigan, Ohio State, Notre Dame. I think they're all pretty even. It kind of like ebbs and flows of what you really. Now, all of us here in LA would obviously say SC is above all of them. But when you really look at the college football landscape, I think in terms of what kind of money you can make, NIL that you're working with, football history, blue blood, all that stuff, like those are kind of the higher upper echelon of coaching. So I don't think nothing would have really been an upgrade for D'Anton Lynn as a coordinator going anywhere. It's not like he went from UCLA as a DC to USC. Like that's an upgrade. No offense to UCLA, but in terms of football, obviously an upgrade. The only school that really, to me, that could have happened for the lateral move was Penn State. Because obviously Penn State, depending who you talk to, is considered a blue blood. Some people say they're not, but some would say they're considered a blue blood. But they have a lot of football history. Happy Valley is a special place. But it's his alma mater. I'm sure everyone listening knows that by now, but if you don't, that's where he played his college ball. And there's something very special about coaching where you played. I mean, just ask all the USC alum that have been within the program after they've graduated and why many fans want to see more USC alum. You know, Taylor Mays, hats off to him, just got a job up at Washington as a safeties coach. Really bummed to see him go. Rising star. I'm sure a lot of fans, that's another conversation we could have, like why we let him go when, you know, he was on staff. They could have made him safeties coach, and, you know, we have Doug Belk, and, you know, that's another conversation. I think Doug Belk's a really good coach and was just further along in his coaching maturation than Taylor Mays is. That doesn't mean Taylor Mays isn't great and isn't going to be great. I just think for what this program needed right now, Doug Belk has more coaching chops right now. So I totally understand that move. It sucks to see Mays go and whatnot. But anyway, I say all that because it's special when you're a former player and you get to coach your alma mater. So that was the fear. I think, you know, money, SC could, I think it's pretty equal. SC could probably offer more than Penn State. But that was the fear. Like, would he make that lateral move just because of his alma mater? And we know there was reports that came out, one from another podcast, Locked On Podcast, who had a guest on that covers Penn State, that they had zeroed in on D'Anton Lynn to be their DC. A contingency flew out here to LA to meet with him. This was just yesterday morning, or maybe it was Wednesday or Thursday morning. And so it was very real. And USC, Lincoln Riley, Jen Cohen made sure that it would not happen. They extended D'Anton Lynn to keep him as the defensive coordinator at USC. Because it's a private school, obviously, we do not know the terms. But obviously, the rumor was last season when SC pulled him away from UCLA that his year-over-year contract was worth somewhere near $2 million as a coordinator. So whether the extension is just years or that year-over-year went up as well, easily one of the highest-paid coordinators in all of college football. And I think deservedly so. You look at this defense, the transformation, and some people will look at the record, and some people will look at some of the games, like Notre Dame. I know that they gave a lot of yards, but 10 points per game better than last year, 34 point whatever in 2023, and 24 point whatever this past season. But I think anyone that just watches football, watches this team year over year, you could just see it was such a more disciplined, better unit. Like, it was statistically it was better, 100%. There's no denying that. Much better. But just the eye test, the tackling was better. The simple things like the development of players such as Jaylin Smith. And this goes into Doug Belk, too, right? Doug Belk is your secondary coach, along with D'Anton Lynn, who played secondary, is the DC, but also specializes in the secondary. Jaylin Smith was good in 23. I think he was one of the top players, but he was great in 24. And you think about this defense, what it can be with this system, with this style of play, with a revamped defensive line, because that was the weak link. That's no disrespect to any of these players that played their butts off. Guys like Nate Clifton, guys like, many other across the defensive line that just worked their tails off. But the talent discrepancy, you could tell. The size discrepancy was a little bit there. And it was first year one in the system. And so now seeing some of these transfers come in, seeing these young guys who are going to be older in Jide Abasari, in Carlin Jones, in Cam Fountain on the edge, getting back some key players. The linebacking room, obviously, you're losing some big guys in Easton Maxwell and Arnold and Mason Cobb, but Desmond Stevens, what he's going to look like, obviously, the linebacker coach still impending. That was my whole last conversation on last episodes. If you want to get the latest intel on that, you can check that out. This unit's only going to get better. And so losing Lynn would have been nearly catastrophic. I don't think it would have been complete catastrophe because I think Lincoln Riley was really smart in how he built this staff, knowing that there was no way to keep all of them year over year. I think he planned, and anyone that knows, every year you're probably going to lose one of these guys. That's how good this staff is. I know the record was 7-6, but this is a really good staff, guys. Like, this is a really, really smart, intelligent, football IQ, relationship building defensive staff. And rising. I mean, a lot of them are really young, too. But I think he built knowing that. And that was kind of the, Matt Entz, was he going to be, if Dan Lynn went early, could they convince him to stay and be the DC? Well, Matt Entz was obviously the first to go. So now, if Dan Lynn were to leave, that's why you have Coach Henne as the co-DC title. Coach Henne's kind of a DC in waiting. And he's been probably ready for a DC job for a while. I mean, I was always floored how long the Rams were able to keep him just as a D-line coach. And he didn't get DC interviews and whatnot. So they built the staff to, it wouldn't be a complete catastrophe. But you can't just replace Dan Lynn and what he brings. And so it was integral they kept him. And to their credit, they did. The Sharks came swimming, right? Blood was in the water. Jen Cohen, Lincoln Riley, and everyone involved got it done. And so Dan Lynn is here to stay, and we can get back to focusing on the trajectory of this program and building this defense to what it is capable of. And there should be a lot of excitement about this defense. I think when you look at a lot of the guys returning, obviously huge that Kamari Ramsey's coming back, Eric Gentry's coming back. And then some of these transfer portal guys, I think, are really, really strong when you look at the back end, some of the guys they've added. And then some of the youth. There's a lot of excitement about the youth. So the excitement should stay. Great getting Dan Lynn back. And huge of this program to put their money where their mouth is. And not just say they care about winning is the only way and USC needs to be number one. They put their money where their mouth is. And most likely, if we ever find out the contract, Dan Lynn might be the highest paid coordinator in all of college football. I'm not saying that's the case because we don't know. I don't know. Maybe someone out there does. But most likely, that's the case. And so that says what a quality coach and human being he is, but also says this program is being serious and knows that he is the linchpin to getting this thing truly turned around. And he said, I saw a quote, I can't remember who put it out there. It was, I want to say it was Luca from OC Register was talking to a source, and the source said, I'm paraphrasing, but this decision was actually really hard for him, but he wanted to help Lincoln Riley get this thing turned around. For all the struggles of the offense last year in the QB play, the offense actually was still pretty good. It wasn't as good as it was in years past, obviously. It wasn't as good as it was with Caleb Williams. It was maybe one of the worst Lincoln Riley offenses since he's been a coach, but it was still a solid offense. I don't have it in front of me. I think it was like top 3 in total yards in the Big Ten. The defense improved mightily, but if the defense can just take that next step, you're not losing 5 games by 1 score. I know everyone hates hearing that, but how many games came down to a final drive with the defense just needing that one final stop? Played good all game. Just needed that one final stop. Well, this is now the program saying, like, we see the direction, we see the growth that Dan Lynn has created for this defense. We can't lose that momentum. And so whatever it costs, whatever it takes, we're going to continue that. So hats off. Huge move. Good stuff. Glad to see Lynn back in LA. And let's be real. LA versus Happy Valley. Come on, baby. Come on. Easy choice. Easy choice, right? All right, quickly, I've already talked more than I was already planning to. I was planning on this being a real short one, just a quick update. But recruiting, the push for recruiting it's year round. It never ends. But now with kind of the official off season for college football, coaches are out hitting the recruiting trail hard. And I'm sure those that have been paying attention on Twitter or X have noticed that Lincoln Riley and all the staff have been hitting California hard. All over the LA area, hitting, Mater Dei, Bosco, Servite, Sierra, all of them. Just today, which is Friday, Coach Riley up in the Sacramento area, hitting Folsom. We know about 5-star Rider Lions that should be after Husan Longstreet, the next USC quarterback, has not committed yet, but heavily favored to land with the Trojans at Folsom. At Grand Union, another great Sacramento school that Alani Noah is from. And so hitting California hard. And one point about this, I think there's all of it's positive. I think that whether fans believe it or not, Lincoln Riley has recruited California since being here. He hasn't just ignored it. However, he certainly has emphasized other areas either equally or maybe even a little more. We know like Georgia, they've hit hard. Texas have hit very hard, which, Lincoln Riley's from Texas, has a lot of connections there, so that makes sense. The South, they've hit SEC country really hard. And the appearance is that California's taken a back seat. There's some truth to that. I don't think, whether he says so or not in his first 2 or 3, I don't think they've emphasized California, but I do think they've recruited it. But I think what we're seeing now is two things. One, I think they're emphasizing it more. They're still going to recruit the Georgias and the Tech. You have to. As great as California recruits are, you have to have some of those guys from those, and just to take them from SEC country, right? Like that's kind of like we always talk about how Oregon does that. Oregon almost wants LA guys just so we don't get them, just so SC doesn't get them, whether they use them or not. So you got to do some of that as well. But obviously, you want your emphasis to be LA. So I think he has put a greater emphasis on LA. But I also think the difference right now is the PR. And PR is a powerful thing. I mean, we talk all the time with Lincoln Riley and this program where, in my opinion, things are not, I'll try to think of an example, but things might not be that big of a deal, but they don't look good. The PR is bad, right? And that's what gets the conversation, everyone talking negatively about the program. So PR is powerful. It doesn't equal wins and losses, but in terms of the narrative, it serves a purpose. And I can't remember, and you guys, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I can't remember in the past 3 off seasons as heavy as kind of a PR move to show where these guys were. There's been, posts here. I'm not saying it was like radio silence. There's been posts here and there. But there's been a definite push showing we're at Bosco. We're at Mater Dei. We're at Folsom. We're at Servite. We're at Olu. There's been an absolute push to show that. And I think that's good for 2 reasons. One, it shows the fan base, we hear you. We got to recruit California better. We hear you. We're here. Get the fan base excited again, right? Like we want to see all these Mater Dei kids in Cardinal and Gold. We want to see these Bosco kids in Cardinal and Gold, Centennial kids in Cardinal and Gold. I think for as great as Julian Lewis was and how excited the fan base was of him, there's no doubt there's more excitement about Husan Longstreet. Nothing to do with talent or anything. It was just he's a Cali kid. There's more excitement. Nothing against Julian Lewis at all. He may end up being the better quarterback. We don't know. But Husan Longstreet being from Cali, that gets you more excited. It's keeping the kid home. So they're doing it, showing the fan base, we're here. We want to be here. We want these kids to stay here. But 2, and this is probably more important, and again, PR doesn't get you wins and losses, but it does serve a purpose. It's showing the rest of college football we are aiming to take back California. We had it 20 years ago. We've lost it since then. And now we are aiming to take it back. As my co-host Madman likes to say, build that Trojan wall around California, specifically Los Angeles. On the Colin Cowherd show a few weeks ago, Mark Sanchez was on and was telling a story about, he obviously played for Pete Carroll, and Coach was there as well. And how they just, when they'd see other teams, recruiters, or coaches at LAX or at a high school, they basically were just like, get out, what are you doing here? You got no shot. They're going to SC. So a social media post of, hey, we were at Servite today doesn't do that, but it starts to signify of, hey, SC's taking California back. This is our rightful recruiting grounds, and we're sick of everyone coming in here and taking kids away. They're coming to SC. They're going to be in Cardinal and Gold, and we're making this thing the way it should be as a staple of Los Angeles. When you think of LA and you think of the Dodgers and the Lakers and now the Rams and the Kings, Clippers, all these teams, SC might be the most LA. Actually is the most. It's the oldest, right? 1800s. SC is the oldest LA. And so to keep that and keep these kids home is powerful. So I love seeing it. We'll see if the PR actually translates. But hey, it's January. What else we got to talk about? We can talk about PR. So, two big things. D'Anton Lynn, here to stay. Great job by the program making that happen. Hats off. And making rounds in California. Don't even know if they've left the state yet, which is great. So, build those relationships up. This new, I talked about it last episode, Chad Savage coming in as the new tight end coach, already has great relationships with Southern California high school coaches. So that's only going to add to this. So, I'm a positive guy, but I think things are up. I think things are trending up. So we'll see how it translates. Long way to go till the season starts. We got spring camp coming up, which I'm really excited about to be a part of. We'll have updates for you all the time here on the USC LAFB YouTube channel. If you want to listen on audio platform, just search Salute to Troy anywhere you get your podcasts, or LAFBnetwork.com is everything. All of our written stuff, editorial, everything on social, LAFB Network. Easy to find. So thank you all for hanging out. Everyone be safe. We'll be back next week with the coach and Madman. And thanks as always for the support. If you haven't already, hit that like and subscribe button on the YouTube. USC LAFB is the channel once again. If you're not on there, what are you doing, right? So, but yeah, appreciate everyone. Everyone be safe, be well, enjoy your weekend, and we'll talk to y'all next week.